It's always game day in Cleveland, the post-game edition. He's Daryl Ryder. I'm Andy Baskin. Daryl hanging on to a lot of orange juice as he tries to get himself back up to full strength. He is not on the IR list today. He has made it through. He is a trooper, and he wants to talk to you about the Browns' spectacular 39-38 win in Indianapolis. I say spectacular because I still can't figure out how they did it. Want to remind you that It's Always Game Day is brought to you locally by Smiley One and Bryant, Northeast Ohio's premier heating and cooling solution. Daryl, give me your first thoughts.
I am still digesting whatever the hell that was we just watched. Yeah. I mean, I've seen some bat bleep crazy Browns games in my life, but that was definitely the most recent. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean, they finally, second week in a row, they got lucky. A couple of calls went their way on that last possession. One of them was just absolutely egregiously awful, and Colts fans going to be pissed, and rightfully so, to put the ball at the one. But hey, I mean, you got to take advantage of the opportunities when they're there, and the Browns did. I mean, Kareem Hunt barely got himself across the goal line with the football, with Nick Harris leading as a fullback, and they won a game. Dustin Hopkins was great. Myles Garrett was sensational in the first half. I don't know what to make of the Deshaun Watson situation now. Your best ability is your availability, and he's just not available right now. He's not reliable. So I have serious questions as to how honest he has been with the organization about where he is with his injuries. I really do. The narrative coming out of Indianapolis is that Kevin Stefanski was protecting him and holding him out. But let's be honest about Andy. He looked terrible before that hit to begin with. So, I don't know what to make from that. I mean, that just was a crazy ass game, but the Browns won. That's all that matters. It's the only stat that matters. They're now 4-2 as they head to Seattle to take on the Seahawks.
Well, Daryl, they are 4-2. They're a team that is poised record-wise to be heading towards a postseason appearance. I know it's super early in the year to say that, but your quarterback, your franchise quarterback, again, as the head coach said at the end of the game, is super questionable about whether he can perform. Now you're looking at a backup quarterback that you took in the beginning. You don't have any trust in Dorian Thompson-Robinson because you surpassed him with P.J. Walker, a guy who had more experience. But P.J. Walker now, they have to make a decision to put him on the 53-man roster or not. Do they need to bring in another quarterback? I'll ask it again. And I think how much of that depends on, what Deshaun Watson says or what the injury looks like or where they're going with this thing. Because, I mean, they're on a good path. The problem is they don't have a leader on offense.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to give Zach Jackson of The Athletic some credit. He might have been sarcastic because, Zach, he's got, quite the personality. But I would call and try and trade for Jacoby Brissett on Monday. I would. I would not put P.J. Walker on the 53. I'd say bye-bye because he's just not good. He's not good. They're lucky they won the game, these last two games with him at quarterback. He makes twice as many bad throws as he does good throws. And yeah, they've got a decision they have to make now, but I think that the backup quarterback situation is biting Andrew Berry in the ass right about now. They got lucky. They got lucky last week against San Francisco, and they got lucky this week against Indianapolis. P.J. Walker at quarterback is not a viable, sustainable option for the Cleveland Browns. I'm sorry.
It's tough. The other hard part of this game is I'm still trying to figure out the defense. Myles Garrett looked like a Superman in the first half. I mean, the plays that he made really just they show you why he could have a Hall of Fame career when this thing's all said and done, if he's not already on his way there right now. I mean, it's just unbelievably spectacular, but I always go back to this, that we wasted Joe Thomas's career, and I don't want to see this defense have a wasted year. But I'm still trying to figure out what Gardner Minshew was able to do against the Browns that San Francisco couldn't.
He completed a bunch of passes, and the Browns missed a bunch of tackles. Plain and simple. Not hard to figure out. First touchdown was a broken play, or a free play rather. Garrett gave up on, and along with the rest of the defense, they saw the offsides flag and I guess assumed the play was going to be blown dead. It wasn't. Colts got a touchdown. 75-yard touchdown. Like they missed three tackles. So it was an uncharacteristic day for the defense, but they forced a ton of turnovers. They gave up a season high in yards, season high in points, but were able to force some turnovers and made plays when it mattered most. And like you said, Myles Garrett was just an absolute beast. The 2 strip sacks, both of those strip sacks resulted in touchdowns. He blocked a field goal that resulted in a field goal. So that's 17 points right there. He batted away a pass in the third quarter to kind of slow up the Colts momentum there a little bit. He had just an outstanding game. By the way, a little nugget on him. He passed Hall of Famer Reggie White for the most sacks by a player prior to his 28th birthday since the NFL began keeping track of that statistic back in 1982. So Reggie White had 80. Garrett now has 82, and he obviously is going to be adding to that total here in the coming weeks. But, yeah, I mean, there was just no stopping him in that first half, and he is a big reason why they were able to win this football game.
4-2. It definitely feels good when you look in the standings. While we do this, where Pittsburgh is still playing, the Ravens look very, very tough against the Lions today and really kind of stifled their 5-1 start. The Bengals had today off. So as we look forward to the AFC North as well, Daryl, you're right in the thick of things. We'll see what happens with Pittsburgh today, but I mean, you're right there. I just think Baltimore made a statement today with Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, they took the Lions to the woodshed, and I picked the Ravens to win this division. I still think they're going to win the division. I think the Browns make the playoffs as a wild card. I just don't know where they fall in the AFC. Luckily, they got a little bit of cushion now at 4-2, but they got to figure this Deshaun situation out. And if he needs more time, he needs more time. But then if he does need more time, they got to go get a quarterback that can actually play. Because
based on today, your head coach basically, I'm not going to say he went to the bullpen in the first inning. It's exactly what he did. He did what a baseball manager would do in this situation. He saw that his starter was struggling. He knew this was a very winnable game, knowing that his defense was there. He also knew that his starter was coming off an injury and had to make a decision. Like, I know Kevin's going to get crushed this week for some of the play calls that he made, but I think he made the right call by keeping Deshaun Watson out of the game.
Well, that pitch to Jerome Ford, I see that every day in practice. I see that every quarterback and every running back goes through that play, that pitch. Ford
I don't think that was on PJ. It went right through his hands.
Yeah, I mean, he hit Ford right in the hands, and he dropped it. So Jerome is hurt, by the way. So that's great. He's got a right ankle injury. But it was good to see him break free for that 69-yard touchdown. It had been a couple of weeks, right? Everyone's wondering, hey, what are they going to do as far as explosive running game goes? Well, and I kept telling you, they think Jerome Ford can do it. And lo and behold, he was able to bust one against the Colts on Sunday. But, Kareem Hunt, you want to talk about sucking it up and getting it done. 2 touchdown runs, including the game winner. He was questionable with a thigh injury to begin with.
He was on a pitch count today, too.
They elevated a kid from the practice squad. Not even elevated. They signed a guy from the practice squad to the active roster. That was the roster spot that I thought PJ Walker was going to get. But again, I'm not in favor of that happening. I'm in favor of them trading for Jacoby Brissett and getting his ass back here to
what do you think they have to give up to get him?
I have no idea. I'm just throwing.
Is that really the answer? I mean, do you really think they're going to do that?
Let me dream. Okay. It's been a bad week for me. So just let me dream. Okay. Let me throw some nonsense against the wall and hopefully something sticks. And if Andrew Berry is listening, someone in Berea is listening, you're welcome for the suggestion. And
there you go. All right.
And thanks Zach Jackson of The Athletic as well.
Very well. All right. So we're going to have a big week throughout the week to talk about all of these things that are going on. It was an interesting week. We'll be talking about all the major headlines, especially with Deshaun Watson, how they were able to squeak this win out. I'm going to be really interested to hear what fans are saying as soon as I hop in the car on the radio post-game show too, because I'm sure they're killing Kevin Stefanski. I'm sure they're like, we're lucky because of the referees. But you know what? There's been plenty of times since 1999 that the Browns were not lucky. So sometimes karma works its way back in your direction. Now the Browns are 4-2. Let's see what they do with this. Let's see what they do with the quarterback situation. It's going to be a crazy week, as much as it was for you, Daryl, because I know you're under the weather. So you're a trooper for even doing a post-game report today, just so you know that.
Yeah, let's give Dustin Hopkins some love too.
True. And Corey Bjorquez, I thought he had a pretty good game too.
I was really skeptical, what they were going to get from him. And he is 7 for 7 from 50, hit a career-long 58-yarder, 254-yarders as well. First player in NFL history, 5 consecutive games with a 50-plus make. That's incredible. Yeah, I thought he was fantastic. So I think he needs a lot of love. The return game is exactly what I told you it was going to be, and that is non-existent for the Browns.
There is no return game. None. Zero. Zilch.
They got it is what it is. God love Donovan Peoples-Jones, but every time he goes back to field the punt, my heart's in my throat because it's like I feel like you're playing Russian roulette back there every time the Browns go to field the punt. But that's not good. I think they won hang on a second. I think they won the turnover battle for the first time this season, which is something they've not been able to do. Let's see here. No, they still. They did. 4-2. Browns had 2 turnovers. Colts had 4 turnovers. So for the first time this season, the Cleveland Browns won a turnover battle. And so for all of those that were like waiting for the defense to force turnovers, and there were some folks in town writing about this as well. So you got 7 of 15 on third down allowed. They gave up 456 yards of offense, but they got those 4 turnovers. And look, man, those turnovers put points on the board for them and kept them in the game. And obviously at the very end there, sealed the game. Obo Okoronkwo getting on top of a third strip sack. Gardner Minshew threw 3 interceptions last week. This week he was strip sacked 3 times. So it's been a rough little stretch, but he wasn't that bad, 15-23 for 300-plus yards, a couple of touchdowns, and a pick.
305, yeah.
His rating was 119.4. Would you like to guess what PJ Walker's rating was, Andy?
I'm sure it's in the Blutarski range.
It's 51.3.
No better than Blutarski.
You know what Deshaun Watson's rating was?
Didn't have one, did he?
Exactly. Did not make it to the Richter scale.
All right. He's Daryl Ryder. I'm Andy Baskin. We're back throughout the week with our other podcasts. Thanks for sticking around here on the post-game report. Again, the Browns a winner, 39-38 over the Colts. For our producer, Meredith Kane, thank you very much. Stick with us. There's going to be a lot of headlines coming up throughout the week, so make sure you're listening to us, not only here on the Odyssey app, watching us on YouTube, but also following along at 92.3 The Fan and 92.3thefan.com, along on the Odyssey app, as I said. It's always game day in Cleveland.